Welcome to the Oscars Cheat Sheet mini-series. Why bother having an opinion on this year's Best Picture nominees when you can just use ours? All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the final episode of the Oscars Cheat Sheet. It would be weird to not call this part of the Cheat Sheet series. I guess it's an Oscars Cheat Sheet episode in the sense that it's like, now that they've happened, here's what you
want to talk about at the water cooler the next day.
Yeah. And of course, there are only maybe a handful of examples of things you'd want to talk about. Certainly nothing horrific or awkward or embarrassing happened at this year's Oscars. And I'm not just talking about example of thing I didn't want to win, winning, example of award.
Dune winning 6 awards.
But not 12.
Yeah, Dune quite fittingly winning roughly half of its its nominations for being roughly half a film. So, the Academy Awards have just gone. Not sure when this is coming out, but they will have been in the last 24 hours, I imagine. And
which is better than last year where we waited a week before releasing this post-mortem episode.
Nothing if not timely.
But yeah, so there was, lots of surprises throughout the night, lots of fun things. There was one big thing which we will talk about. I imagine it will take up most of the discussion, but we'll sort of do a discussion before that, and then we'll get to that. I think we'll probably run through the night in chronological order. I think makes sense. And that's, of course, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock in the face. Again, we'll get more into that. Don't worry, we will talk about it.
I was going to be like, we're of course talking about Amy Schumer dressing up as Spider-Man. But you beat me to it with just the real thing. The thing that actually is what everyone's talking about.
So the show started with, we had the red carpet. Sound issues aplenty in New Zealand. I'd be remiss not to mention. Couldn't hear the first fucking half hour of the red carpet because they just had clearly the microphone that was they didn't mix the audio at all, so you just had the music and the crowd cheering, and then well below that was the interviews happening, and it took them half an hour to fix it. It was infuriating.
Wow. I didn't catch the red carpet. Did you catch it, Aaron?
No, unfortunately I did not either.
Did you did you didn't even watch the ceremony itself?
No, I did see parts of it, to be fair. I was watching it in the background as I did work today.
Okay, so this is a cheat sheet almost for you. We can tell you for the first time on the cheat sheet series, we have an actual member of the podcast to explain what to think.
We have a member of the public.
There are enough gaps in my watching of it for me to be wait, what? Why did that happen? For example, I have no idea why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I just know that he did.
But so the show opened with the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, introducing the performance of Beyonce's performance of "Be Alive," the song from King Richard, which was a pre-recorded thing at a tennis court, and everyone was dressed in tennis ball colors and the whole thing. I'm not a big fan of Beyonce, so it was very run-of-the-mill Beyonce, sort of very, self-important.
Which we got instead of a live best editing award. Which, how did they make this video? This pre-recorded, you say? What's the alternative?
Well, they just
what are you talking about?
Each shot they would
live?
hit start, and then when the shot they wanted was finished, they would hit stop, and then it was all done in camera.
They didn't even export it from Windows Movie Maker. They just played project files next to each other.
Yeah. And then we had our three hosts, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall, step out on stage, but not before they were hilariously interrupted by DJ Khaled, who kind of did a half rap, half ramble. That's right. I actually couldn't make out a single word of it, of what he was saying, but it was a very odd choice. What did you think of the opening monologue, AJ?
I think I want to talk about DJ Khaled, and then I'll talk about the opening monologue. I think that the DJ Khaled thing is.
It doesn't go down on his wife.
Exactly. And it's a microcosm for what really sits wrong with me about the Oscars is that they're obsessed for the last few years with trying to get people watching them. No one's watching the Oscars anymore, and a lot of commentators have pointed out it's like
It's because you were missing Kelly Slater and Sean White.
It's because you're not nominating or celebrating the films that you want
People
to
saw it.
utilize to get people watching, right? And I think DJ Khaled is a perfect example of that. That it's like, what you claim to be prestigious, and like I would never forget a couple of years ago when an Academy voter came out and was like, Adam Sandler's just not the kind of actor who gets nominated for an Oscar. And it's like, okay, but DJ Khaled is the type of guy you get to have a walk-on joke role in the ceremony, like. It's so they want all of the cake and they want to gobble it up for themselves.
That actually reminds me as well. Because the Oscar voter thing, there's like Hollywood Reporter does the brutally honest Oscar ballot where they like talk to people anonymously. And so what do people say about this? I hated the Power of the Dog movie except for its cinematography. It was so predictable and not subtle. You knew right away that Benedict Cumberbatch was a latent homosexual. The brother was a wimp and the son was a little demented, unlike Brokeback Mountain, where the characters were so finely developed and interesting. In a way, I understood what Sam Elliott meant. I didn't like West Side Story, which I call Woke Side Story.
Is this the Academy?
Yeah, there's these people from the Academy.
What the fuck? You're supposed to be like devastatingly liberal in Hollywood.
I
admit
I'm not a Dooney. I never read the book, but I went and saw it in an IMAX, and to me it was boring except when Javier Bardem came in.
God.
And I didn't care about anyone at all.
Abolish the Academy.
After Nightmare Alley, I just wanted to go have a drink. Drive My Car was wonderful. Could have been a lot shorter, but I still liked it enough to nominate it. Coda is like an old Hallmark movie. It's a lovely story that makes you feel good. Belfast was such a human story. King Richard was the story that stayed in my mind. Really inspiring. It was a real surprise for me. And also, just so that we've got their opinion on all of them, they said Licorice Pizza was a mess. The kid stays 15 forever and he's a fantastic entrepreneur. The film that takes place over like a few days. It's like he's 15 the entire time. What is this?
I think it's more than a few days, but definitely not more than a year.
Don't Look Up was a parade of a whole bunch of celebrities. Mark Rylance, one of my favourite actors, looked bored as hell. The best part of the movie was when the raptor eats Meryl Streep.
The raptor?
West Side Story, best director, they just loved King Richard. They voted for Belfast, though. Javier Bardem is one of my favourite actors, but not in Being the Ricardos.
I don't want to hear any more of these. This is making me more and more angry.
This is crazy, man. This is like a dude bro's opinion on Oscars.
Yeah, I thought the Oscars were like left wing, but like still, liberal, not like.
But
not
even,
like my dad voting for the Oscars.
Like literally, even if it's like a conservative person, it's like also sort of it seems like a. I don't want to say the word, but it seems like a dumb person's opinion, or like some, like you can,
no, absolutely.
You can be a Republican or a right wing person and still be intelligent, but this just sounds like some idiot who watched movies and is like, I like Michael Bay.
These are the people deciding what stays and goes in the zeitgeist,
But yeah, in terms of, I remember you were quite shocked by some of the jokes that they were hurting people's feelings.
No, wow. I mean, there was one joke that hurt someone's feelings quite badly. But no, it's less that the jokes hurt people's feelings and more that like the three women, and I don't begrudge them for this, but a lot of their material was based around the shortcomings of the Oscars as an entity. Like several jokes throughout the whole ceremony about like people of color not being recognized or women not getting recognized, and it's like it's all well and good to like when Natalie Portman announced who was nominated for Best Director, and she was like, "Congratulations to all those male directors." That's like a gut punch to the Oscars themselves when it's in the telecast.
I think that was the Golden Globes.
Oh, well, when it's in the telecast, my problem with it is like, it's like they're like, yeah, you can, no, it's not just making fun of us. You can call us racist. You can call us sexist. But, that's not changing. They're not being the change by acknowledging these things. They're just saying, yeah, you can make fun of us for it.
Yeah, you can literally assault a man on live TV and win an Academy Award moments later.
My favorite joke from the host, though, and it's surprisingly was from Amy Schumer, who said,
"Why is that surprising?"
because she's the one I find the least funny out of the three.
Because she's a woman.
She's a woman of the three female hosts. She said, "Don't Look Up" is nominated, which is surprising, and it probably means the Academy don't look up reviews, which I thought was actually quite funny. And it cut to Adam McKay cracking up at that joke, which, hey, good on him, right? Like, good for him. He can, like, laugh at that sort of thing.
Adam McKay, obviously he's got a good sense of humour. There was a few good jokes throughout the night as well. There was Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa presented one of the first awards together, and Josh Brolin says to Jason Momoa, like, "Have you ever been nominated?" And the way he's like, "No."
Have you seen my movies?
That was funny. That was so
but
good.
and then the other one, Rachel Zegler and Jacob Elordi presented an award together, and Jacob Elordi said, like, wow, I never thought I'd be here at the Oscars, and Rachel Zegler said, 6 days ago I thought I wouldn't be here. Because there was the big controversy around her. She announced that she hadn't been invited, and there was a massive outcry because people like Kelly Slater, Tony Hawk, and Shaun White were announced as presenters. But
and DJ Khaled.
it sounds like though that she's currently shooting the Snow White live action film in London, and it sounds like it wasn't like, well, we don't want her there. It was like, well, she can't go, so we're not asking her, kind of thing. And they had to actually reschedule the shoot, like, reconfigure the shoot so that she could go because there was such an outcry.
Fair enough. I think that's fine.
People don't go to the Oscars all the time because they have other commitments. Frances McDormand wasn't there. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't seem to be there. Yeah, presumably still shooting his Martin Scorsese film. But so the first award of the night went for to Best Supporting Actress. And so you mentioned about them not recognizing people of color. It was presented by Daniel Kaluuya and the singer Her, both people of color. And just to really drive home the fact that they were played on to Africa by Toto.
No way. I did not notice that at all. This is so bad. I fucking hate the Oscars, guys. Every year I'm just mortified by everything that happens at them. I like watching the films, I think it's a fun format for our podcast, and also a good way to like actually like dip your toes into like what is the high art of the year, supposedly. But the actual ceremony itself, God, I wish more people were punching each other.
Bro, every year it's like, I'm like a parent being like, I'm not angry. I'm just very, very disappointed.
Oh, man.
It's funny, like every year you see people on Twitter being like, is this the worst Oscars ever? And it's actually like, it's
every
like,
year it gets worse.
That thing of that like women have like some chemical in their brain that makes them forget like how horrible childbirth is. Otherwise, no one would ever have a second kid. I think people have the same thing about the Oscars, because every year they get excited for it and they go, this is just dumb jokes and bad decisions. And it's like, this is what the Oscars has always been. Nothing has changed.
Especially recently. It's not.
When
it's
Ellen
not
took
the
that
Oscars.
selfie, Jesus.
We're talking in the Discord. I said that on the next betting form for the next Oscars, one of the things you can bet on is like, what will the horrifically embarrassing thing be? And you can vote between like and a conflict between two actors, the wrong award given out, or an upsetting win or loss. There's so many like and I guess in terms of last year's one, which specifically breaks the format of the Oscars because of the Chadwick Boseman thing,
the offense of In Memoriam last year as well. That with the best supporting actress went to Ariana DeBose, which we kind of picked in our cheat sheet. She gave quite a nice speech talking about being first Afro-Latino woman to win, and openly queer woman to win. One of those kind of speeches where it's like, I was, a kid who thought they didn't fit in watching the Oscars at home. Just know that you do, kind of thing. Very nice. So the Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa, it sounds like they presented all the awards at the like hour beforehand They just
Right.
did them all, and then so there was animated short film, documentary short subject, film editing, live action short film, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, and sound. And so they just had their Oscars lady voiceover say, and the nominees are, and this one won, and then cut to their speech, which, you know, if this was tradition, I'd be like, yeah, sweet. Like, that flowed nicely. I didn't mind.
It was so controversial that certain awards were being cut out of the live telecast. But, like, I understood that to be that they wouldn't be broadcast at all, but they were, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
I think
that's on
I
you.
think-
I don't know why you thought that.
Nah, in fairness to him, I thought that too. I was like, oh, well, that sucks. They're just going
I
to
think that-
publish it in the paper next day.
I
I
you
think
guys
that's what
are
everyone
both
thought.
stupid. No, I that's really interesting.
Why would
I
it be
don't know why.
controversial? I feel like it wouldn't be as controversial then. All I was going to
that's
say...
why I'm like, it's not that big a deal.
Well, okay, then the rest of the world thinking it is a big deal would mean that everyone thought what I thought, Richard. That's
Well,
what I'm
everyone's
saying.
stupid.
That's fine. That can be what the truth is. I'm just saying that's what I think everyone assumed. And what I was going to say is that I think, you know, not to be elitist, some awards can be done by like that way. I don't know. The sticklers for me are score and editing, I think, should probably be a live presentation. But I think the shorts that can be pre-recorded, I think that's okay.
They're just short.
But then you got to think, if they didn't have the shorts in the cast earlier on, we would never have that iconic moment of Taika Waititi pretending to be asleep while the best short films list was being nominated. So
That's true.
You got to think about these things.
That's true.
There's pros and cons, we'll say.
There's pros and cons.
So yeah, just in interest of saying every winner, animated short film went to The Windshield Wiper, documentary short subject went to Queen of Basketball, film editing went to Dune, live action short film went to The Long Goodbye, which Riz Ahmed was a producer or director on. It's an album by Riz Ahmed, and it's like a accompanying video for that. So Riz Ahmed's now an Oscar winner after he was snubbed for, well, not, you know, he wasn't snubbed for a nomination, but he lost out last year for Sound of Metal. Makeup and hairstyling, I believe, went to Eyes of Tammy Faye. It did. I started, I believe, and then I checked it was correct before I finished the sentence.
Thank you. Very good.
Original score went to Hans Zimmer for Dune. His only his second Oscar. I thought he had a bunch.
I'm so glad that won. I love the Dune score. It's so good.
Production design also went to Dune, and so did Best Sound. So yeah, Dune won 4 Oscars before the night even started.
Nice. Things were looking good for old Dune.
Yeah. Rosie Perez, Woody Harrelson, and Wesley Snipes came out and awarded Best Cinematography, which also went to Dune. One of those, like, they're like, let's revisit White Men Can't Jump. And you're like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, no, I was like, what the hell? I didn't know White Men Can't Jump was, like, revered. Yeah, but apparently it is. Do you think it's more a case of, like, they're like, all right, which movies have reached, like, a landmark age this year?
Yeah.
White Men Can't Jump. Okay, that's 25. We could get Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
Best VFX, which is went to Dune as well, and so I think that's all of Dune's awards then. Tony Hawk, Kelly Slater, and Shaun White came out and did a 60th anniversary tribute to the James Bond series, which it was just a little fan cut. You know,
it didn't go anywhere. It's like that. You can cut that and put best editing in. Like, who cares of how long James Bond? Look at all these films that we didn't nominate, that we never nominated for almost any Oscars. Let's celebrate them together.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they missed their chance 10 years ago. They were like, oh, we're going to do a 50th, anniversary thing, because it was also Skyfall came out, and it was rumored all 6 actors who have played James Bond were going to appear on stage together, and that would have been like a cool moment. That would have been a huge moment. And now 2 of them are dead, so you can't do it. But they missed the chance. I don't know why they didn't. Sean Connery probably didn't want to, but it would have been like his first public appearance in years if he'd done that. We got performances of all the songs as well, introduced by various people. Plus, we did get the performance of "We Don't Talk About Bruno," which had Megan Thee Stallion had a rap verse in it as well. So
This sucked.
Yeah.
I thought this sucked. I love "We Don't Talk About Bruno." I think it's the best Disney song since the Renaissance, and I thought that this rendition of it, they cut out because the song, if you've heard the song, gentlemen, and I'm sure you have, it's in about 3 or 4 distinct different parts, right, where different characters are singing, and the only bit they really did was sort of an elongated version of the first part, which is the husband and wife singing about their wedding day, and then there was a rap
her
over
wedding day.
her wedding day. There was a rap over that, and then they went back to finish the song, but it was just to the like the arrangement of that first part again. And like the best part of the song is the like 7-foot frame part, or like the your boyfriend's here part. Like all these these are the parts that have gone viral on TikTok. And it's like, that's why they were playing the song. I'm sorry, but that's why they were doing it. And so I just thought it was so funny that, like, not only do they really wish this was the Encanto song that got nominated, they also didn't even do a very good performance of it, I don't think.
There was also a moment in there when they went to the Motion Picture Academy of Arts and Science, or whatever it's called, their museum that's just opened up. It actually looked like it was one of these, like, it was Wanda Sykes getting to do, you know, like a Type 5 about the museum. But it looks
classic Sykes. It's classic Sykes.
It actually looks pretty cool. And
it did look cool.
maybe next year the three of us could go to the museum.
Absolutely.
Record live from the museum?
Yes.
But yeah, she made a joke about because there was like a room where they had a bunch of Academy Awards like in display cases, and they said that there was one that was empty, and they said this was, you know, Hattie Daniels. Is it Hattie McDaniels or Daniels? McDaniel was the first African American woman to win an Oscar, and it was lost when she donated it, and so they're like, this represents. You know, like this empty space represents her historic win. And then Wanda Sykes was like, oh, it also represents all the black directors that have won, because there haven't been any.
Very cool, Oscars. Let's joke about it. Let's just have a good old joke about it. That makes it okay.
Yeah, when there wasn't even one nominated this year. Like,
fuck, wasn't there? Oh my god, why would you make that joke? Or like, and to be clear, I'm not upset at Wanda. Wanda Sykes is great, and that is a funny joke for her to make. But like, to just throw, like, as the Oscars as an entity, to just put like your like prejudices on display for laughs, it just doesn't sit right with me. What do you think, Aaron? What do you think about this?
It does sort of strike me as weird to be like criticizing yourself inside your own event, you know. I don't know, it's like it's sort of
for
like
specifically like one of the worst things you can be, right?
But also like not doing anything about it, you know. It's just weird to like have that kind of self-referential, like, aren't we so shit, but also like we're the most prestigious, like you can't have it both ways. You can't be like the most prestigious best thing, then it also like throughout the whole thing be like, but also we suck balls.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't be the best actor and also assault a man on live TV.
it's like you can like if these changes were made, and if in 10 years the Oscars looked a lot more diverse than they do now, then you can make then you can make that joke, I think. But while you're still in the throes of like inequality and white privilege and unconscious bias, like, and then you read the fucking brutally honest ballot, and everyone's like, I'm not gonna say I didn't vote for her because she's black, but it's not because she's not white.
Yeah. But I'll just say, wasn't a fan of her skin color.
And also, it sort of weirdly ties in with that, like, the trying to be more appealing to a younger generation as well, of like, I don't know. Just
meta self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, but also like trying to be prestigious, but man, it's just something about it that just feels very weird. Like, decide what you are, man. Either you're like the best thing in the world, and these are the best movies, and we are the opinion, or like you're just some weird event that's like kind of the MTV Movie Awards or something.
That's a great segue, Aaron, because I want to talk now about something that I briefly mentioned in our cheat sheet and said would come back to, and we never did, which is the Oscars did like the theme of the ceremony was movie lovers unite. So they teamed up with Twitter to host the Oscars fan favorite contest, where they would where Twitter users, so it's like the open to the public, would vote for their favorite movie of 2021 and their favorite movie moment in history, essentially.
Most of which were from roughly 2020 to 2021.
And so, Aaron, did you see how these fell?
I can't. I think I did see the segment, but I can't remember how they fell.
I thought you were a movie lover, Aaron. That's the theme of the Oscars.
You were supposed to be united with us.
The only thing I remember seeing that segment is being like, "What the fuck? Why are these movies here?"
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys want to come to my birthday party? The theme is birthday lovers, birth lovers, party enjoyers.
So yeah, this is one of those things where the contest itself drew a lot of criticism.
Ire. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Drew ire?
Because there was the popular film category they proposed for the 91st Academy Awards. And again, it was one of those things, because, back then it was Black Panther, that they're like, we want to award this somehow, but we can't give it a real Oscar. We'll give it a separate but equal Oscar.
God, and it was Black Panther.
Yeah.
God, with the worst movie you could be stuck in that predicament with.
And then so it feels like, again, that Spider-Man No Way Home, love it or hate it, it was a lot of people's first movie experience in 2 years. And it got people excited about movies again. And, as we talked about, desperate to get people to watch the Oscars again, highlighting
they made the Spider-Man Wins Award.
Yeah. So, I got a bunch of criticism, but so they announced the five. They announced the five finalists a wee while ago, but we finally got the ranking. So they had the Oscars cheer moment, which is the stand up out of your seat and cheer moment, and the top five with this. In fifth place, you have Neo's bullet time backbend, they called it, from The Matrix.
It makes sense, but is that a cheer moment? I feel like that's a in awe. Shock and awe moment, right? I want to dissect each of these ones.
I think audiences didn't cheer in 1999. Well, fourth place is Effie White singing "And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going" from Dreamgirls.
What is this? I know, Dreamgirls is just absent from my repertoire of movies, but it's so funny to have the category for Film Bros and have the fourth place be to a movie that no Film Bro has even heard of.
Yeah. For the record, I have heard of Dreamgirls. I have not seen it.
I wouldn't call you a film bro. I respect you too highly.
Yeah. So third place was the Avengers Assemble to Fight Thanos from Avengers Endgame.
Should have won, but let's see what's to come.
Second place was Spider-Man Team Up from Spider-Man No Way Home.
So I can accept that being above Avengers Assemble because it's more recent.
Recency bias, yeah.
I'm not even talking about my opinion. I'm talking about I'm sitting the category down and being like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are you wanting? What are you wanting to be able to play on the big screen at the ceremony? Let's just
we
kid
know what
ourselves.
they did play, which is so in first place, Aaron, was was the Flash going into the Speed Force from Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh my god!
Now, first of all, I want to say idea of a stand-up and cheer moment from a movie that wasn't released in theaters, is hilarious. I also personally, I feel like I might get some pushback on this. That scene, I think, is woefully unedited and actually doesn't represent what's good about filmmaking in a way. But that's
why do you think that's woefully unedited?
Because it's too long. It's a scene which should take 25 seconds and it takes 5 minutes.
And it's beautiful.
And people standing up in their couches at home and cheering for it 3.5 hours into that movie.
Yeah.
It got a 5-minute standing ovation, AJ.
Yeah.
Of course it was the number one.
And then the top 5 films of the year, which
Well, the reason it won though is because when
Snyder
you go,
Bros.
when you say to the internet, vote on the best moment, and the army that is Snyder Bros are like, all right, cracks knuckles, like let's make all these fake accounts and get fucking the scene winning, and it's so insincere, and you get these results back as the producer or the programmer for the Oscars, and you're just like, oh fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
How mad do you reckon Marvel Studios were when they're like number 3, number 2, and then they get beat by DC, and they're like, but we clearly make better movies. We just do.
So yeah, then the fan favorite movie of 2021, and fifth place you had Tick Tick Boom.
So I think if we can talk about these and analyze why each decision on these lists are baffling. I think Tick Tick Boom is so interesting because that's less of like, this feels like the category that's for like the people who don't care about the Oscars, but in fifth place is like quite an Oscar-y
well, but
movie.
that's also like Andrew Garfield stands that are gutted it didn't get, and Lin-Manuel Miranda stands that didn't get Best Picture.
It feels like it exists somewhere in between Best Picture nominee and this category, though.
Yeah. In fourth place, you have Spider-Man No Way Home.
We'll talk about that at the end. Let's just go to third.
Yeah, in third place, you have a film called Minamata, which I'd never heard of. Stars Johnny Depp.
What the fuck is this award, man? And it stars Johnny Depp, like shamed and thrown out of Hollywood Johnny Depp, and now he gets a scene played at the Oscars ceremony. And like, yeah, I just like, what is this film? I've never heard of this film. You're telling me that Twitter got their hands on what could be nominated for an Oscar, or this sort of not real Oscar award, and this weird Johnny Depp film that no one's ever heard of placed. That's insane.
Well, Johnny Depp wouldn't be the most offensive celebrity to appear on this little reel, because in second place you had Cinderella, starring James Corden, and they chose a clip where James Corden features,
which is just one of those things that's like, who the hell in Hollywood thinks people like James Corden? Like, why does he keep appearing? He keeps appearing in things, but like Cinderella specifically. Who liked this movie? I saw nary a good review of this film. I saw
memes,
exclusively hatred for this film, and you're telling me it's, what, number 3?
As someone who watched the film, I can confirm it's absolute pile of garbage.
It's the Pile of Garbage Award for films that we don't think are actually good, and we can't see the difference between a film like Cinderella and a film like No Way Home.
Let's just have a look as well. Just for the record, Minamata has 77% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
So. And then Aaron. So a scene from Zack Snyder's Justice League won the stand up and cheer moment. Would you care to venture a guess as to what won the favorite film of 2021?
Oh God, nah.
Keeping in mind that Zack Snyder's Justice League came out in 2021.
Oh my God, are you serious?
No, it was actually Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which won.
Yes, I remember seeing that and being like, I don't think I've even seen a trailer for this movie ever.
It's so funny because Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it's a recut, was technically not eligible for the award, which is hilarious that it wasn't, because this is clearly, if it's not made for Spider-Man No Way Home, it's made for that movie and it's not even eligible. And so I'm assuming the same army that propelled the Flash scene into first place for stand up and cheer moment. Well, we can't do Justice League, let's do the next best thing, and it's his average zombie movie that nobody really saw. Here's the thing. I'm not even gonna talk about whether or not I liked, or if any of us liked, Spider-Man No Way Home. The winner of the award is Spider-Man No Way Home. It's not a conversation. You don't have a choice. We're talking about what movie dominated cultural conversation upon its release more than any other. And it is... I will not listen to a single argument that says it isn't Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's just so funny that, like, the internet It's just like intimate democracy is a mistake. You just shouldn't let people vote. You should just figure it out. You should just figure out what you think is probably the answer.
Yeah. Rowan, I think, put it best. Rowan, a Cult Popture family member, said definitely proof that the Snyderverse fans are bigger losers than the Marvel fans.
Like, I can't understand how they thought they could put this out to the internet and everything would be all good. It's like, this is just this is Boaty McBoatface all over again.
It's a wonder the winner wasn't like a renowned,
Cuck.
Just like a famously terrible film. Because I do wonder if
Cuck.
I've never heard of that movie. I've never heard of that.
It's cool. It's about like a frustrated loner who becomes an alt-right vlogger.
Oh, right, okay.
It's like it's actually about what you think a film called Cuck in 2019 would be about.
So Army of the Dead winning is like the second cousin of a Boaty McBoatface situation, right? That's like it's still a large untenable group of internet warriors creating the results they want, right? But I do wonder if that Johnny Depp film was specifically like the same army were like, what's a film that nobody fucking saw? Let's get that into first place. Yeah. And maybe it is this. Maybe that's why Cinderella is there. Like the only real examples in this category would be Tick Tick Boom and Spider-Man, and those are just the ones that genuinely, earnestly got up there.
Yeah. All right. So best animated feature went to Encanto. No surprises there. I
didn't bet on Encanto winning, but as soon as the ceremony started, I was like, that was stupid. I should have bet on Encanto winning.
What did you bet on?
Thank you. I bet on Luca because it's the Pixar rule.
Idiot.
Did you guys notice throughout the ceremony that, like, when they'd announce each of the awards, I guess because the last year's one, there was, like, way less people, but this year it was real obvious in some respects who was going to win because you'd, like, sit there and listen to people announcing the people who are nominated, and then based on the, like, volume of the crowds, like, woo! It was like, every single time you could be like, okay, we know.
Kirsten Dunst got a pretty big woo though.
There was a few like Flea. I noticed clearly had the one that was nominated for animated feature, documentary, and foreign film, not winning any of them. It did that one. Clearly had a big contingent of fans, but I do agree. It is interesting. Quite often it signposts to the winner, and I think like Coda had quite a big showing there as well. But it is interesting, even if not the winner, to see what the room's favorite is,
Yeah.
The Spider-Man No Way Home the Army of the Dead of the nominees.
So Yunya Zhang, who won Best Supporting Actress for Minari last year, who we all love to bits, presented the award for Best Supporting Actor, and she came out and was like, and kind of broken English was saying like, I complained a lot last year that people couldn't say my name, and now I'm sorry because I've read the names of the nominees and now I have to pronounce them. And so, that went to Troy Kotzer for Coda, which I think we'll all be very happy about. One of the best wins of the night.
Best win of the night. I was so happy he won. He is such a transformative part of Coda, and I think in a lot of ways was kind of the underdog as well of the Best Supporting Actor nominees. Like, it wasn't as sure of a bet as it has been in previous years. I was delighted to see him win, and his acceptance speech was beautiful, I thought.
Yeah. But so it's funny. So she gave him the Oscar, or they gave him the Oscar, and then she immediately was like, "Oh no, I'll take it so that you can sign." But yeah, I loved seeing her again. That was fantastic. Tiffany Haddish and Simu Liu, who had a fucking amazing suit, by the way, this like beautiful red suit, presented the award for Best International Feature, which no surprises there, went to Drive My Car. Ruthie Carter and Lupita Nyong'o, Best Costume Design, they announced, which went to Cruella. And interestingly, that was one of the only times that I noticed someone getting played off. The woman who won that, whose name I'll grab.
Bro, you didn't notice the award for Best International Feature Film?
Oh,
They tried to play him off like 3 times.
Yeah, because he was like, all right, thank you. And then they started playing the music. He was like, actually, one more thing.
There was a group of 4 guys that got played off as well after the second guy. I can't remember.
But it's just because I recognized the woman, Jenny Beavan, who won. She won for Mad Max Fury Road. And I remember her speech it might have been like a team of people, and she was the last one to speak. And she was like, "And if I may just get serious for a moment," and then they started playing the music, and it was like it was
So
such bad
tacky.
timing. She had to like yell about like the treatment of Indigenous people or something.
So tacky. They're like, oh, we're not racist. Look, we can joke about it. And then they do, like, I mean, it's not inherently racist to play off people.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, often happens with, like, underheard voices, I think.
Yeah, then we had Jennifer Garner, Elliot Page, and J.K. Simmons there for Juno, presenting Best Original Screenplay, which went to what did they go to again?
Coda. No,
No,
went
that was
to
adapted. Belfast, yeah.
Belfast.
Yeah, so Belfast won the award for the night. I was surprised to see that was Kenneth Branagh's only first Oscar as well.
And, like, to go from, like, probably going to win to only winning one award as well is crazy.
Yeah, it's not the only film that did that too.
Oh. A little teaser.
And then adapted screenplay went to Coda, which was one of those ones that was like, oh, okay, like this might be the favorite
tides.
now.
Yeah.
And then Rami Malek with his creepy fucking eyes presented No Time to Die performance. And then Chris Rock took the stage to present Best Documentary Feature. He made a few jokes. Had a few come to the coast, have a couple of laughs. There's a Die Hard reference. So what happened was he was commenting on people in the crowd, and he pointed at Jada Pinkett Smith. He said something about Will Smith, and then he pointed at Jada Pinkett Smith, who is currently sporting a shaved head, and said, "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait." Reference to Demi Moore's film, which he famously shaved her head for, G.I. Jane. So making a bald joke for context.
Which also, just in retrospect, not a very funny joke. Even if
Yeah.
offensiveness aside,
Sure,
is
whatever.
pretty like.
So Will Smith cackles at this. He throws his head back in the throes of laughter. But then on the side of the screen, you see a very unimpressed Jada Pinkett Smith, like you know, daggers, and then. Chris Rock sort of, laughs and says like, "Oh, there's a good one" or something like that. And then Will Smith takes the stage, unplanned. Will Smith walks up to Chris Rock, and Chris is kind of like, "Oh, here comes my buddy Will," and he's like, "Oh, Richard's coming for me," kind of thing. And then bam, smacks Chris Rock across the face. Go back and watch the clip. It is a real hit.
Yeah,
he very much slaps him in the face.
By this point, I'm like, oh, that was a very good stage hit.
Yeah.
Like, this planned bit had a very good assault of Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock sort of is like, whoa, okay. And then Chris Rock, I think in that moment, appreciates Will's commitment to the bit. Will walks off smiling.
It's classic Rock. He's a professional.
Will walks off sort of smiling, laughing, composing himself, and then sits down, and then you hear, we had it unedited in New Zealand, so you hear off stage Will Smith say, get my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And then it's kind of quiet because it's off screen. And then Chris is kind of like, huh? And then it cuts to Will Smith, a shaky shot, because they're clearly like, get Will, get Will.
Yeah, but it's like the directors are like, get Will Smith, and the producers are like, pull the tally cast.
Yeah. And he says again, get my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. And you can see in his eyes, this is better acting than he's about to win an Academy Award for. And like this, if it's fake, but this is 100% true. There's so much venom in his eyes. He's 100% serious. There's not a microphone on him. He's projecting so loudly it's being picked up by just the general audience mics or even Chris's mic.
Presumably pretty close to the stage,
Quite
judging by how fast he got up there to slap Chris Rock.
And Chris is sort of like, okay, like he was like, it was a G.I. Jane 2 joke. Like he sort of defends it, and then when Will says that again, he's like, okay, I will. Like, and then you can see Chris look off to the side at the producers, and he makes a joke and says that was the greatest night in television history, and then says, all right, we're here to give a documentary to, and he's like completely thrown, and then says, let's just go to the nominees. Honestly, like watching this moment live, this is on par with La La Land, Moonlight mix up. Even I would say on par with like the Janet Jackson nip slip at the Super Bowl. Like it's one of those like iconic live television moments. There actually was a nip slip later in the night as well.
We don't need to talk about.
Well, but it's just interesting that it's like there was a nip slip and no one cares because of what happened.
Right, true.
Yeah.
Well, and also maybe nobody cares because nobody cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
So this are we talking about this now? The Chris Rock thing. So what's interesting, what I found out after it happened is that Jada Pinkett Smith is suffering from alopecia. So clearly her being bald is not as much of a stylistic decision as like she's.
Yeah, I think G.I. Jane 2 is yet to be greenlit.
Yeah, right. Well, careful. Will Smith's at your door. So it's not she decided to shave her head, which like on top of all of this, it's weird to make a joke about someone's shaved head. I feel like a good rule of thumb is like if someone's got a shaved head, it's probably best to not make a joke about it because you never know why they may have shaved their head. And so when I found that out, my initial sympathies reversed. I went from why is Will Smith hit Chris Rock to, oh, well, he was, Chris Rock made a horrible joke. And like talking to people and trying to be very like open and listening, especially as a straight white man, I've learnt to listen to conversations before deciding my position on them over the years. And so I've kind of, I would be interested to see what the narrative eventually becomes, because it does seem to be, I guess, the way I've sort of come to terms with it now is assaulting someone is worse than a bad taste joke.
Yeah. Aaron, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I'll bring you in here.
Yeah, I think I haven't like read anything about it, but just sort of meditating it on my own. I think that's probably my position as well. It's that, like right or wrong, society has an opinion basically in law that there is fundamentally a difference between someone saying some wild shit. I mean, depending on what if it's like racial or whatever, but there is fundamentally a difference between someone saying some shit and someone like physically assaulting a person. So I think, clearly, clearly having had it explained to me that that's what happened, it was an incredibly inappropriate thing to say to someone.
We don't know that what Chris Rock knows either. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't know that Jada Pinkett Smith has alopecia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. So, but it's still, like too far as a joke, clearly. But, I think, we sort of talked about this a bit before we started the podcast. Like, it's probably the clearest example you can see in, like, live action of toxic masculinity, of being like, man has insulted wife, man assaults man. Yeah. It just feels like, I don't know.
Like a
it
very
feels
old
like
school thing, which I think like Will Smith would call himself old school for this, and that it's like, it's. And I mean, fucking, he did a whole speech about it, but it's like, yeah, I think he would see it as chivalry, but I would call it toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for my thoughts, I just think like violence like that is like the stupidest, most childish thing, and that Will Smith, I think, in an attempt to prove what a big bravado man he is, made himself look like a little boy. And yeah, I think as well, it's quite funny watching the moment and you see Will Smith laugh at Chris Rock's joke, and then presumably after it cuts away from him, he looks at Jada Pinkett Smith, sees how pissed off she is, and thinks, well, fuck, I'm going to have to deal with her at home if I don't do anything. So instead I'll deal with the world's media reacting to what I'm about to do, because it's easier to deal with them than the missus. Yeah, I just think like you try going into your work tomorrow and hitting a man across the face and see if you get a promotion an hour later. Like, you probably fucking won't. And I absolutely think the Academy should have escorted Will Smith out of there, and I don't think he should have been allowed to do his best actor speech, but they've got a tradition. They want, him to make a speech. But yeah, no, I think that you should absolutely face the consequences and like a normal person, and you shouldn't, like, it's insane that he assaulted a man on live television and then not an hour later accepted the highest honor in acting.
Imagine being someone who's been a producer on the Oscars for years, and you've lived through it all, and you specifically lived through the Oscars So White controversy, of which Will Smith was actually like one of the main examples of a performance. I can't remember what film it was for, but like when people were criticizing Oscars So White.
I have a vague memory as well that Jada Pinkett Smith, so Jada Pinkett Smith said she was boycotting the Oscars. Chris Rock, the host that year, said, "No one invited you, Jada." Like,
so
it's not the first time he's made a joke about it.
So it's so already like you've got you've worked hard over the past 5 or 6 years, and you've not done a very good job, but you've worked hard to try and like make up for some shortcomings surrounding like people of color and the Oscars So White and stuff, and then you sit comfortably in your chair. You're like, a black man, probably one of the most famous black actors, certainly was 10 or so years ago, I don't know if you would say that now, is probably going to win, as you say, Richard, the highest award in acting. Like, we've done it. You can see a greedy producer being like, we've done it. We've reached a milestone here. We've won the black vote. And then that black man hits someone, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
But give it to Denzel instead.
Where's PricewaterhouseCoopers?
We need someone to take the fall.
Just for the record as well, like, this isn't like a picking sides thing. I'm not like Team Chris Rock. If Will Smith were to post on r/am I the asshole, I would reply ESH. Everybody sucks here. Absolutely, I think Will Smith is the bigger asshole in this situation. But yeah, I mean, Chris Rock shouldn't have made the joke. There's a million other ways you could comment on someone's haircut, that,
or just not comment
plenty
on
of favorable ways you could have done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that I lost a lot of respect for Will Smith.
New podcast idea: think of a better roast that Chris Rock could have given Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, that'll be the next episode of the Oscar speech. But yeah, so
can I say something maybe not 100% relevant, but I think also what this event kind of highlights is that, you really do think about these people, these like rich, powerful people, as being sort of paragons of humanity, clearly especially if they're actors, you think in some ways they're probably like evolved people, who have a level of introspection.
You're an actor, right, Aaron? Is this where this is coming from?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the hope, right? Is that you think a lot of people who are sort of, high up in art have kind of spent their time looking at themselves and trying to get better as a person, and part of that exploration is like their art or whatever. But I think it really highlights that there really were no adults in the room, or very few adults in the room during that event. It's like none of the producers, no one like backstage managing the ceremony thought to step in. None of the people watching a man assault another man on live TV like did anything about it. Like, it's just sort of, I don't know, it's sort of galling to watch something like that and be like, no one thought to do anything?
And also it's that thing of like, these are people that we're seeing before our eyes operate above the law. Like, you try that anywhere else. You try that if you're not Will Smith, and you will get dragged out of there. Like, it's insane. He went full Kanye.
Yeah, I guess there's maybe a defense that like it was Will Smith, at least until he yelled out what he yelled out, it could have been seen as like no. I reckon if he hadn't yelled anything out, I could have still believed that was staged. Yeah. And in that case, like, you are performing, and it's a weird bit, and I reckon Chris Rock would be like, that was a risky bit of improv on Will Smith's part, but like, so I guess that's a way. It's him yelling out, sort of indicts it as well,
that's also what proved it was.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. But ultimately, I guess it's like, it's a couple of rich people having a fight, and it's like, well, ultimately, like, these are just people who are self-important. Everyone you see tonight is self-important. So, yeah.
The whole goddamn ceremony is self-important.
The whole system's self-important.
Yeah. So to then skip ahead to the Best Actor award. so Will Smith did win, and he got on stage, tears in his eyes, talking about how Richard Williams was a protector of his family, and it's essentially it's God's calling to him, that it's his role. By God, I guess he means L. Ron Hubbard.
Is that confirmed? I've heard that's up in the air.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in recent years he's gone like full.
I don't know if Scientologists worship L. Ron Hubbard, but
also actually just on that thought as well, that Regina Hall made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith earlier in the night as well, about Regina, that she was one of the ones that he was allowed to sleep with because she had quite a public affair with someone, and then that's where the sad Will meme comes from. And I guess that's what it does to a man if you meme him like that.
That's
for 2
such
years.
a worse joke.
Yeah, exactly.
To make
and
than
then
the bald thing.
They've come out and said, "Oh, we have an open relationship," which
Right.
could be a PR move. It could be, not necessarily to speculate on that.
Those
but it's like,
tears didn't make it look like it's an open relationship.
But so he made this whole speech, and it went on for a long time. But if I was down there in that music pit, I would not be the one to start conducting him off. And
Do you know
Will
what
Smith
happened?
slaps a bassoon player.
The director and the producer are backstage and was like, he's going on for ages. He's going on. Ask the producer, what should we do? They turn to the producer. He's sitting in the corner. He's just like,
just a red welt on his cheek.
it's like, I just don't know what to do. He's just silently sitting there. They're like, we need your direction. We need your order. And he's just like, just let him speak. Like, we're going over time. It just
so it was a very kind of rambly speech. There's some moments of it quite powerful, but it was very much like, I am protector, I defend women, and he apologized to the Academy, but not to Chris Rock, notably, and said, I hope they'll let me back next year. If I was in charge of it, I absolutely would not. But yeah, it was kind of the speech that very much felt like he was justifying what he did. And yeah, I think it was, it was a bit of a bizarre speech, and we don't.
The question was, is he
quite
like, because everyone knew he's probably going to win Best Actor, so it's like, is he going to talk about it? And do you know what? I wouldn't if I was Will Smith. I would have just done the speech I planned to do and tried not to tie it into what just happened.
I would talk for long enough that they start playing me off and then raise my hand.
Oh no, he's going for the musicians.
But yeah, it's interesting because after they win their Oscar as well, they go backstage and do like a stand up in front of the press, and surely someone will have asked them about it then. So in the next day or two, we're going to get comments, I imagine, from both Chris Rock and Will Smith, which will be very interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think
Chris Rock will press charges.
Yeah, I think also if you asked Will, he's probably still real mad at Chris. Like he would be writing that hatred. Yeah,
it's extra funny because that show is literally about Chris Rock. So it works on multiple levels.
Any other final thoughts on that controversy, and we'll get to the rest of the awards.
I thought there was very tasteful of Anthony Hopkins, the grandpa of Hollywood, to come out after all this and just be like, all right, okay, let's peace and love.
I like he started his speech with like, I think Will Smith said it best. We should all keep her name out of our fucking mouths. He didn't actually say that.
That's what Sacha Baron Cohen would have done, Yeah. There are riskier men than Anthony Hopkins who would seize that as a chance to make maybe one of the funniest jokes you'll hear all year.
Like that, like when when the Suez Canal was blocked, and it's like, I hope the first boat through here knows they have the chance to do the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Actually, after he punched him, the came back from commercial break, and of all people, P. Diddy was the first presenter on, and was just like, "You guys need to make up," and it's like,
what? Again, though, it's probably P. Diddy's probably one of the only people that would have done that. I was glad that it was also because they had a pulp Pulp Fiction reunion. So you had John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, and Uma Thurman presenting Will Smith with his award. And I was like, Samuel L. Jackson's probably the only person in Hollywood that could make fun of Will Smith right now for doing that.
And I loved that. If we're moving on now, I loved that presentation. I thought it was a delight to see Uma Thurman and John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson do like a Pulp Fiction themed sketch together. I thought that was great. They're just such solid performers as well, and that they're doing like a little dance. And just to see Samuel L. Jackson have to play the straight man to those two, I think was very fun.
Yeah. The award Chris Rock was presenting was Best Documentary Feature, which went to Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, which Questlove was one of the producers of. It looked like he was about to give a very moving speech, but our feed in New Zealand cut out. P. Diddy presented a tribute to The Godfather, which is like, oh yeah, who do we get for the Godfather trilogy? P. Diddy.
Can we pause on this Godfather trilogy for a thing?
Yeah.
For a second? How awful! Like they play the trailer, and it's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Was it like, I don't know if it was a trailer, but it was like cut clips from The Godfather, set to like hip hop classics, or like get up hip hop classics from the last 15 years or something.
Yeah.
It was like the like if you're gonna celebrate the film The Godfather, just like play The Godfather's music,
play the whole
let
movie.
it speak for itself.
Yeah, actually, like it has a
Like-
pretty iconic score as well. So it's like,
Yeah, like let it speak for itself.
Be
Don't be like,
very sad. You just watch one man punch another man on live TV in front of millions of people, and then cut to.
so after that little Godfather tribute, we had the In Memoriam section, which is a bit of a fan favorite here at the podcast. That was quite nice this year. They played I Will Remember You, but they had like a dance number. They had like a troupe dancing, but big improvement over last year's, which you can actually read some of the names, which is nice.
Last year's was awful compared to this one. And I think they replaced the idea of like the last person in the In Memoriam being particularly significant with a couple of examples. Look, let me finish my sentence. They had like in between, they would have like someone come on and talk about.
They've got they had Tyler
sorry.
Perry talk about Sidney Poitier. They had Bill Murray talk about Ivan Reitman, which was really nice. And they had Jamie Lee Curtis holding a dog, talking about Betty White and saying that she was a big lover of animals, so go adopt a rescue. And I was like, yes, Betty White is last, because that's what I put on my pick. And then they continued after that. Charles Grodin from Beethoven was last.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like they weren't thinking about how significant the last person should be for this one.
Well,
but then what was the order? Why did they decide that order?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and also William Hurt, who I thought might be last, was just early on. He was like third, like just randomly.
Did Bob Saget show up
a couple weeks ago? No, he died. He couldn't make the ceremony.
Did he? Was he? I didn't see him, because that's who I put. It's not very seriously, but that's who I thought would be the last person.
Yeah, I ran upstairs to get headphones because Jess had to take a phone call during the section, so I missed part of it, so I couldn't tell you.
I wonder if the Academy just don't consider Bob Saget important.
It'd be great if like you know how sometimes they play like a little clip of just like one of their lines. So like if Marlon Brando dies, and you'd be like, I could have been a contender. If Bob Saget is just like, there's shit everywhere from Dumb and Dumber to Dumb and Dumberer. Jake Gyllenhaal and Zoe Kravitz presented Best Original Song. They went to Billie Eilish and Phineas for No Time to Die. Which
gotta be the longest.
Not a fan of the song.
Gotta be the longest time passed between something being made
the
and
film
then
being
winning
released
an Oscar.
and then winning an Oscar. Yeah. So the last three Bond songs have won Best Original Song. It just seems like the done thing now. It sounds, you make a song that sounds exactly like Skyfall and you win an Oscar.
They even did that with Skyfall.
Yeah. Kevin Costner presented the award for Best Director, which went to New Zealand's own Jane Campion, who mispronounced Aotearoa in her speech. Interestingly.
Did she really?
Yeah. I mean, she hasn't lived here for quite a long time, so... Yeah, she didn't say anything problematic, which is good.
Except for mispronouncing Aotearoa. I guess
Yeah.
that could be... It was cool to hear. I mean, we've heard Te Reo at the Oscars before when Taika won for Jojo Rabbit. But it's always cool to hear, and always like a real like reminder about New Zealand being a big shot in the movie world. I was kind of moved by Jane Campion's speech. I thought like I don't know, maybe just my Kiwi pride or whatever was just like hell yeah.
I also a very interesting fact. I love little stats like this. First film since The Graduate to win only Best Director and nothing else.
That's fucking fascinating. That's so interesting that this won Best Director and didn't win anything else, and how like it really went from like, you know, not only like because it went from
we went from being one-time frontrunner to only winning one award, just like Belfast.
Right, exactly. Yeah, true. And I think that, but in this case, like, Belfast's chances died a long time ago, whereas Power of the Dogs, I was still, up until Best Picture was announced, was like, it's probably going to still win. And I thought that it's strange to watch the ceremony as it goes on, being like, Power of the Dog is not winning any of these. Interesting. So yeah.
Do you reckon there was a small part of Jane Campion sitting there in the audience as that happened to her as well live, being like, man, I shouldn't have said that shit.
I think she saw Will Smith slap Chris Rock and was like, thank God I'm not the pariah of the award season anymore.
Yeah.
But that's probably pretty reliable. I mean, Will Smith has probably just got to wait till the next thing happens. Although is the Oscars the last one, isn't it? Or
Exactly, yeah.
Oh no!
But when you say when the next thing happens, it's like 2 days from now, no one's going to give a shit.
Yeah, I guess so. But like you want to if you can do whatever controversial shit you want to, say whatever you want in speeches during award seasons, you just don't want to be the last person to do it at the Oscars because that's going to be the one that stays immortalized till the next award season.
Yeah, so we've done Best Actor. Anthony Hopkins came out and presented the award to Best Actress, which went to Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Film I did not see.
Looks all right.
It is interesting, though, that, in terms of, like, films winning multiple awards, you only had Dune won 6, which is broke the record for most wins without a Best Director nomination.
Which isn't that hilarious that a film can be nominated for everything?
Half a film.
Shut up. The film can be nominated for all these like the sum of its parts, right? And then who's in charge? Oscars, who's in charge of the sum of something's parts? You know, like
that's actually really interesting to bring up in the light of the film that won, because I would say that the film that won was like a sort of triumph over the sum of its parts. You know,
absolutely, yeah.
And we'll get to what that is in just a moment. But yeah, the
for those that don't know, woo!
But yeah, so The Eyes of Tammy Faye ended up being one of 3 films to win more than one Oscar, because it also won the
hair and makeup
hairstyling. But yeah, so Dune won 6, Eyes of Tammy Faye won 2, and Coda won 3 awards, including Best Picture. So it also won the original screenplay, the adapted screenplay, sorry, and Best Supporting Actor. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting into the night. The presenter for the final award was Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli, which was actually a really sweet moment. I thought Liza Minnelli came out in a wheelchair. She's obviously, her health's declining.
I did not know that about Liza Minnelli. That made me quite sad to see.
But
she was still a delight and is still like professional.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like still like knows what her charisma is and knows how to like win over a crowd.
So she had cue cards rather than reading off a teleprompter. And there's a moment when they came out and Lady Gaga sort of knelt down. And you could hear her sort of off mic being like, "Have you got everything? You're right." And she was like, I'm so confused. And I thought it was like, she's being funny there. I was like, no, she's actually like mixed up her cards. And there was like a few months where Lady Gaga knelt down to her and checked in on her and made sure that she was all right. And it was just a really sweet moment. And Lady Gaga, I think, comes across as a very genuine person and a very caring person.
She treats Liza Minnelli with dignity and class, and it's like it reminded me of like someone talking to their grandmother, someone because I mean Liza Minnelli in sort of a spiritual way probably is the grandmother of Lady Gaga.
Yeah, and also like she's done a lot of stuff with Tony Bennett, who's like similarly declining health, and Yeah, and she's very, very sweet with him as well.
I thought that as well. The Liza Minnelli when she announced that Coda won as well. It was very like Lady Gaga's like the Oscar goes too, and Liza Minnelli like opens the envelope and goes, "Okay, Coda." It's like done without any like presentation or fanfare. No one was ready for her to say it. It was great.
Aaron,
What are my thoughts on the best picture winner?
Yeah,
I guess I have mixed thoughts, yeah, I guess we said earlier, very recently, that, in some ways, Coda's kind of a triumph over the sum of its parts, because then, I think I highlighted this when we were doing the cheat sheet stuff, is that there are certain things about it that you can kind of see the edges of. I was kind of surprised that it won Best Adapted Screenplay because, in many respects, the screenplay is quite formulaic. So, like, as a piece of creation,
well, maybe they were
it's like
adapting a formulaic
True.
That is a good point, Aaron, that it feels more like it's really good in spite of its screenplay.
Yeah, I would say that. So, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed watching it, but in some ways I would echo the thoughts of the film dude bro who was like, yeah, it's sort of like a Hallmark movie. I don't know, like, I would say truly amazing performances, but I don't know that I would say that it was, for me, the best movie if you're looking at a movie as a sort of, collectively all of its parts working really well.
What it reminded me of, and I will preface this by saying I think Coda is a better movie than this, but it reminded me of the Green Book win, the controversial Green Book win, because it is probably the Green Book of the nominations this year in the sense that it's this really just pleasant, nice, somewhat unchallenging, somewhat predictable story. And we talked about this on the Cheat Sheet Coda episode, that the difference here, I think, is that it's a movie, it's a really nice, maybe slightly elevated Hallmark movie, but it has these moments which are so much better than the rest of the movie. And so and I think that in a nutshell is actually, as I said on the episode, is actually like a perfect formula for winning Best Picture. And here I was maybe proven to have a point there with it winning, because I think it's consumable by the mainstream with a few moments which make you consider the heights that art could potentially go to as well if you weren't familiar.
It's my favorite of the 10, and I'm glad it won. I think I do agree though that I think that you think, Power of the Dog's a very Oscar-y film, like it's a very, very challenging, has a lot of themes about toxic masculinity, which maybe they needed to hear tonight. But looking historically, I think the Oscars tends to like the watchable, nice film, and I think Coda is that. I think it's very nice, and that's why I loved it so much. And also the fact that it's an entire movie.
It's not half a movie like Dune, and it's not 40 movies like Power of the Dog or Drive My Car.
So, that's our discussion on the 94th Academy Awards ceremony, and I guess can finish off our discussion with the words of Jaden Smith, who a few hours ago tweeted, "And that's how we do it."
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jaden, delete the tweet. Jaden, no. Who would have thought of all the things to be returning out of nostalgia in this day and age that Jaden Smith's unhinged Twitter would be something to come back?
Obviously, every word in that was capitalized.
Sweet. Well,
I'm just checking Willow Smith's Twitter, and doesn't appear to have anything. Although she too looks like she's preparing for G.I. Jane too. No, she has a shaved head.
Probably out of solidarity. All right, well, that is our Oscars cheat sheet mini-series come to an end with our debrief of the ceremony. Would love to hear all your thoughts, and you can do so by hopping on the Discord, which there is a link to in the show notes. And you can tell us who you thought was right, who you thought was wrong. be it the award winners or the Will Smith Chris Rock thing. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can also email us at cultpopturemedia@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support us, you can do that over at patreon.com/cultpopture. Next week we'll be returning with another, I don't know
We don't know
what we're going to do.
but
We don't. It's not going. I can tell you, it's not going to be Film Franchise Fortnight's returning. That'll be the week after. So get ready for that, everybody. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? And yeah, thank you for listening, everybody.
And thank you. We'll see you next year, Aaron.
See you guys next year. Can't wait.